Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Tanvi Taneja with the Midday News. The headlines. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan says preemptive and proactive measures helped in controlling the spread of the pandemic in the country. Total recoveries from COVID-19 in the country crossed 9.5 lakh mark. Recovery rate improves to 64.23%. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar says India is ready to provide every assistance to increase the population of tigers in the world, releases All India Tiger Estimation Report 2018. UN says levels of nitrogen dioxide fell by more than 70% in New Delhi during the lockdown. And in Bihar, incessant rain aggravates flood situation. Over 25 lakh people affected in 11 districts. Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan said the preemptive and proactive measures have helped in controlling the spread of COVID-19 pandemic in the country. He said the coronavirus fatality rate has reduced to 2.25% and most cases are largely asymptomatic. While participating in the World Hepatitis Day Second Empathy E-Conclave today, Dr. Harshvardhan said it is important to create awareness about the higher risk of morbidity and mortality faced by people with comorbidities like diabetes, obesity, fatty liver and chronic liver diseases. He said the theme of this year's conclave is Keep Your Liver Safe in COVID Times, which is important in these testing times.
अभी बहुत सारी जो दवाइयाँ कोविड के लिए इस्तेमाल में ली जा रही हैं, रेमडेसिविर और इस प्रकार की दवाइयाँ, ये भले ही अभी ट्रायल स्टेज में है, बहुत लोगों को इसका लाभ भी हो रहा है, लेकिन इनके बारे में साथ साथ ये भी बातें उभर कर आ रही हैं कि इनके इस्तेमाल से लिवर के अंदर डिस्टर्बेंसेस होते हैं और इसलिए जिनका लिवर ठीक है उनको वो डिस्टर्बेंसेस को भी वो टॉलरेट कर पा रहे हैं। लिवर का महत्व जो है बहुत अच्छे तरीके से आज कोविड के युग में भी बहुत प्रासंगिक हो गया है।
Stressing on the mass awareness and community mobilization, the minister said hepatitis has become a global health problem and viral hepatitis is a very common and serious disease in India. He said individuals with viral B and C hepatitis are at increased risk for liver cancer and chronic liver disease. He said talk, test and treat is the mantra to create awareness in the society. This e-conclave was attended by Speaker of Lok Sabha Om Birla and Union Minister of Law and Justice Ravi Shankar Prasad. On this occasion, Mr. Birla said India is committed to the World Health Organization's goals of elimination of hepatitis C and B.
The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said total recoveries from COVID-19 today crossed the 9.5 lakh mark. With this, the recovery rate improved to 64.23% in the country. The case fatality rate has further declined to 2.25%. A total of 9,52,743 people have recovered from COVID-19 in the country so far, and 35,175 recoveries have been reported in the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said 47,703 new cases of COVID-19 have been registered in the country in one day, taking the total number of cases to 14,83,156. Presently, the total number of active corona cases in the country is 4,96,988. In a single day, 654 deaths have been reported, taking the toll to 33,425. Indian Council of Medical Research said that a record 5,28,082 tests were conducted by various laboratories in the last 24 hours. With this, India has created and maintained a new high of more than 5 lakh COVID-19 tests conducted in a single day over 2 consecutive days. The Health Ministry said this is the outcome of the Union Government's focus on aggressive testing, tracking and treatment policy to curb the spread of COVID-19. More from our correspondent.
The central government, in collaboration with the states and union territories government, has adopted the strategy of aggressive testing, tracking and treatment to deal with COVID-19 pandemic. Effective containment strategies and clinical management protocols have improved recovery rate and reduced fatality rate. In terms of recovery rate, Delhi stands at top position with 88.68% recovery rate. Ladakh, Haryana, Assam and Telangana are other top performing states and union territories wherein the recovery rate is above 75%. 16 states and union territories have better recovery rates than the national average of 64.23%. Maximum number of people have recovered in Maharashtra, followed by Tamil Nadu, Delhi and Andhra Pradesh. In terms of fatality rate, there are 29 states and union territories which have lower fatality rate than the national average of fatality rate 2.25%. In the total active cases, 68.91% caseloads are from Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Bhupendra Singh, AIR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually launched 3 high-throughput COVID-19 testing facilities yesterday. These facilities are located at the National Institutes of Indian Council of Medical Research at Kolkata, Mumbai and Noida. He said these high-tech testing facilities will boost the testing capacity by almost 10,000 daily tests. He said more number of tests will assist early detection and treatment, which will bolster the fight against coronavirus. He added that these labs will not be limited to testing for COVID, but in future will also be able to test for hepatitis B and C, HIV, dengue and several other diseases. Mr. Modi emphasized that due to timely decisions taken by the government, India is better placed in comparison with many other countries in terms of deaths due to coronavirus.
देश में जिस तरह सही समय पर सही फैसले लिए गए, उसी का परिणाम है कि भारत अन्य देशों के मुकाबले काफी संभली हुई स्थिति में है। हमारे देश में कोरोना से होने वाली मृत्यु बड़े बड़े देशों के मुकाबले काफी कम है। वहीं हमारे यहाँ रिकवरी रेट अन्य देशों के मुकाबले बहुत ज्यादा है और दिनों दिन सुधार भी हो रहा है। भारत में कोरोना संक्रमित होने के बाद ठीक होने वालों की संख्या करीब-करीब 10 लाख पहुंचने वाली है।
The Prime Minister said that it was imperative for the country to develop corona-specific health infrastructure at a fast pace. He noted that the centre had announced a package of 15,000 crores at the beginning of this health menace. He said the country had only one COVID testing centre in January. He mentioned in a small span of time there are almost 1,300 such labs in the country now. He said the country has progressed from not having even a single PPE kit manufacturer 6 months ago to having more than 1,200 manufacturers. The Prime Minister forewarned people to be cautious during the celebrations of the festivals in order to keep the virus contained.
हमारी ये उत्सव उल्लास का कारण बने, लोगों में संक्रमण न फैले, इसके लिए हमें हर सावधानी रखनी है। हमें ये भी देखते रहना होगा कि उत्सव के इस समय में गरीब परिवारों को परेशानी ना हो।
In Bihar, the number of corona-positive cases is rising rapidly. The total number of cases has risen to 41,111 with 2,192 fresh cases. Maximum of 7,067 cases were from Patna, followed by 2,280 in Bhagalpur and 1,744 in Muzaffarpur. 27,844 patients have recovered so far, while 13,011 patients are undergoing treatment at various hospitals. 255 patients died due to coronavirus in the state so far. The recovery rate in Bihar stands at 68%. 14,236 samples were tested in the last 24 hours, and so far more than 4,70,000 samples have been tested. Telangana state reported 1,610 new coronavirus positive cases during the past 24 hours, taking the total COVID cases to 57,152. As the State Medical and Health Bulletin says this morning, recovery rate has been reported at 75.1%, with over 800 people recovered from COVID and got discharged from various hospitals in the state. The state reported 9 more deaths due to COVID and other comorbidities, taking the total deaths to 480 so far. Meanwhile, the High Court is hearing a petition later today related to COVID testing in Telangana. A report from our correspondent.
On the direction of the High Court, the government has notified the information which is expected to benefit the people who are looking for taking admission for treatment. While the government has over 17,000 bed capacity for COVID treatment, the private establishments are having about 4,500 beds for exclusive COVID treatment. Meanwhile, the reporting of fresh COVID cases is increasing in several districts in the state. The Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation area accounted for 531 out of 1,610 new COVID cases during the past 24 hours, while Rangareddy district reported 172, Warangal Urban district reported 152, and Mechal Malkajgiri reported 113 fresh cases. Lakshmi, AR News, Hyderabad.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, there has been no let-up in the spike of COVID cases in the past 3 weeks. A total of 321 fatalities have also been registered in the Union Territory so far. However, the recovery graph equally shows an upward trend and more patients are recovering with each passing day. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
The cases have been witnessing a rising trend for the last couple of weeks, especially in Kashmir division, but a good sign worth to take note of is the recovery graph, which also show an increase when only yesterday 474 patients have recovered, taking the total recovered patients for COVID-19 pandemic so far in Jammu and Kashmir to 10,402, which shows the recovery percentage as 57%. The number of coronavirus cases reported yesterday were 470, taking the total number of positive cases so far to 18,390. This is Sunil Kohl, AR News from Srinagar.
In Puducherry, 141 people were tested positive for coronavirus and 4 persons, including NR Congress General Secretary V. Bhalan, died in the Union Territory. There are a total of 1,182 active cases in the Union Territory.
According to the COVID-19 status report released by the Health Department, 130 new cases were reported in Puducherry region and 11 in Yanam region. 62 persons were discharged after treatment in the last 24 hours and 143 active cases are under home isolation. So far, 3,011 persons are infected by the virus, of which 1,782 were treated and discharged. 47 died, leaving 1,182 active cases in hospitals. Chandramohan, AR News, Puducherry.
In Odisha, Chief Secretary Asit Tripathi held a review meeting on COVID-19 situation over a video conference with the district collectors and the chief medical officers. During the discussion, he advised the senior officers to analyze the COVID situation in districts and redesign the strategy to manage this crisis. A report.
Chief Secretary of Odisha Asit Tripathi has taken a district-wise review of the extent of the surveillance, testing, availability of COVID-19 care centers, COVID-19 health facilities and medicines. He has directed the collectors and CDMOs to make advance arrangements in all these matters. Moreover, Additional Chief Secretary of Health and Family Welfare Department Pradipta Mahapatra informed that the state has sufficient stock of testing kits and medicines. The collectors were asked to enhance per-day sample collection at least to 500. Likewise, hotspot districts were asked to ramp up the sample collection up to 1,000 per day for early detection and treatment. They were asked to utilize the antigen test kits and upload the test result in the ICMR portal on a daily basis. The collectors were also advised to encourage and support plasma collection. Itish Singh Rathod, AIR News, Cuttack.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy is expected to hold a meeting with the State Medical Experts Panel tomorrow. The agenda is set to be the future course of lockdown in the state. The meeting comes in the wake of the current unlock phase 2 drawing to a close on Friday night. More from our correspondent.
The Chief Minister's consultation with the medical experts team comes in the backdrop of most of the districts outside Chennai witnessing a surge in the new COVID-19 cases. Epidemiologists quoting the everyday data say that the situation in Chennai has almost stabilized, though the preventive measures need to be sustained. They also say that the districts beyond Chennai will also see a stabilization in due course of time, similar to the experience in the state capital. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
Karnataka Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar has taken strong exception to a private hospital in Bengaluru denying treatment to film star Sudharani. He has warned that appropriate action will be initiated against hospitals refusing to treat COVID and non-COVID patients. Our correspondent tells us more.
The Health and Family Welfare Department has issued orders instructing private medical colleges and hospitals from sending back patients. It has pointed out that refusing treatment to patients is violation of Karnataka Private Medical Establishments Act of 2017. The private hospitals have been asked not to insist on asking for COVID negative certificate from patients who approach them. The department has also invoked the provisions of Disaster Management Act against such hospitals violating the act. They have been advised to admit patients based on the SMS, WhatsApp or Arogya Setu tracing. According to the meeting held with the Chief Minister earlier, the private hospitals had promised 50% of their beds for treating COVID patients. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
Innovative concepts are being devised by organizations to safeguard their employees from coronavirus. In one such example, one of the wards of the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai has made maximum use of advanced technology so that people do not touch any object inadvertently. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Some of these technologies which has been attracting the attention of all is the foot-operated machine to operate the elevator in the building. Further, a sensor-based automatic thermometer similar to a thermal screening device has been installed on the wall at the entrance of the building which measures the temperature. If the body temperature of a person is above normal, then immediately the siren blares from the machine. Apart from this, even the files which are brought into the office are being scanned and disinfected through UV rays. In addition to this, automatic sanitizer machines have been installed in the washrooms and they sanitize the place after a specific time period. An official from the civic body said the engineers of the MCGM have been credited for this feat. With this welcome change, people from private sectors and corporate world are visiting this office as part of their study tour. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan says preemptive and proactive measures helped in controlling the spread of the pandemic in the country. Total recoveries from COVID-19 in the country crossed 9.5 lakh mark. Recovery rate improves to 64.23%. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar says India is ready to provide every assistance to increase the population of tigers in the world, releases All India Tiger Estimation Report 2018. UN says levels of nitrogen dioxide fell by more than 70% in New Delhi during the lockdown. In Bihar, incessant rain aggravates flood situation. Over 25 lakh people affected in 11 districts. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar released the All India Tiger Estimation Report 2018 today on the eve of Global Tiger Day 2020. He also released a poster on small wild cats of India at the event. Addressing the media briefing in New Delhi, Mr. Javadekar informed that India is home to nearly 70% of the global tiger population and it leads the world in showing effective conservation of the wild species.
बाघों की रक्षा में भारत ने जो कदम उठाए, हम दुनिया के जो 13 देश है जिनके पास बाघ है, उनको सभी प्रकार की मदद करने के लिए तैयार है. उनको ट्रेनिंग भी देंगे, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग भी करेंगे, क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं कि प्रकृति की रक्षा हो.
Mrs. Javadekar said tiger is a precious gem of nature and its presence signifies that the forest is in good condition.
प्रकृति का एक अनमोल रत्न है बाघ और दुनिया के 70% बाघ भारत में है. भारत को गर्व होना चाहिए. 70% बाघों के साथ आज हम दुनिया का नेतृत्व करते हैं. भारत की ये सॉफ्ट पावर्स है और सॉफ्ट पावर को हमें दुनिया के सामने बहुत तरीके से ले जाना भी चाहिए.
The minister said in 1973 there were only 9 tiger reserves in the country, which has now gone up to 50.
1973 में जब टाइगर रिजर्व की कंसेप्ट शुरू हुई तो 9 टाइगर रिजर्व थे. बढ़ते बढ़ते अब 50 हो गए और खुशी की बात है कि 50 में से एक भी पुअर क्वालिटी नहीं है. तो ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है.
Mr. Javadekar said that apart from tigers, India is also home to 30,000 elephants, 3,000 single-horned rhinos and over 500 lions. He said the country is ready to provide every assistance to increase the population of tigers in the world, highlighting the culture of harmonious coexistence with nature in India. The minister noted that despite constraints of physical resources, the country sustains nearly 8% of the world's eco-diversity. He said that practices like worshipping of trees is what showcases India's unique cohesiveness with nature. The heads of government of tiger range countries had resolved to double the tiger population by the year 2022. In this regard, the St. Petersburg Declaration on Tiger Conservation was signed by the countries in 2010. In the meeting, it was decided to celebrate the 29th of July as Global Tiger Day across the world to create awareness on tiger conservation. UN Secretary-General's policy brief on COVID-19 in an urban world has said during the lockdown, levels of nitrogen dioxide fell by more than 70% during the lockdown in Delhi. The brief, however, warns that the environmental gains could be temporary if the cities reopen without policies to prevent air pollution and promote decarbonization. The brief said with an estimated 90% of all reported COVID-19 cases, urban areas have become the epicenter of the pandemic. It says the size of their populations and their high level of global and local interconnectivity make them particularly vulnerable to the spread of the virus. It also pointed out that several new scientific studies suggest that poor air quality is correlated with higher COVID-19 mortality rates. On COVID-19 outbreaks in informal settlements, the UN brief said that in Mumbai, as of mid-April, 30% of designated containment zones were in slums, while 60% were within 100 meters of an informal settlement. The brief also recommends that nations must pursue a green, resilient and inclusive economic recovery.
The IRCTC and SBI card together launched their new co-branded contactless credit card on RuPay platform. Railway Minister Piyush Goyal today dedicated this new card to the nation. The new RuPay credit card is equipped with near-field communication (NFC) technology, with which users can expedite their transactions at the POS machines by just tapping the card on the machines. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Goyal said the government is strongly committed in making railways Atmanirbhar in all the fields with Make in India initiatives as envisaged by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said launch of this card is one of the many Make in India activities undertaken by the railways. In Bihar, incessant rain has further aggravated flood situation in different districts of the state. Over 25 lakh people in 11 districts are affected by floods. The worst affected districts are Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur, Gopalganj, Supol and West Champaran. The flood water has damaged 110 roads and vehicular traffic on 28 roads has been halted. A report.
Rail traffic on Darbhanga-Samastipur section of East Central Railway remains suspended on the 5th consecutive day. Rail traffic on Muzaffarpur-Narkatiyaganj has been restored. Standing crops spread over 5 lakh hectares have been destroyed. Farmers across the state have suffered a loss of an estimated 2,000 crores following damage of crops. Agriculture Minister Prem Kumar said compensation will be given to the affected farmers after assessment. Gandak, Bagmati and Kamla Balan rivers are flowing above danger mark. Met Department warns widespread rains across the state in next 48 hours. Relief and rescue operation has been intensified. 25 teams of NDRF and SDRF have been pressed into service. With the report of KK Lal from Patna, this is Diksha Saxena for AIR News.
In Assam, the flood situation is gradually improving. However, 20 lakh people are still reeling under the effects of floods in 22 districts. The death toll has gone up to 104 and over 1 lakh hectare of crop area is also submerged. 45,000 people are taking shelter at government-run relief camps. Gwalpara, Dhubri and Barpeta are among the worst affected districts. Relief measures are being intensified at flood-affected districts. Flood situation is slightly improved at the Kaziranga National Park. Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal visited the affected areas of Buroi River at Lalpukhuri in Bishwanath. The Chief Minister, along with Ministers Ranjit Datta and Keshav Mehenta, took stock of erosion protection measures on the bank of Chatrang River at Gohpur. We spoke to Deputy Commissioner of Dhubri District, Anant Lal Gyani, on the situation in the district.
Right now, situation is improving. We have distributed relief materials and cattle feed for cattle and tarpaulin and GR also. We lost 3 lives and ex gratia has been provided.
Mumbai is witnessing a second consecutive day of incessant rain. Parts of Mumbai and adjoining areas have reported heavy overnight rain, and the wet spell continued this morning too. The Indian Meteorological Department has forecast light to moderate rain in Mumbai and surrounding areas all through the coming week. Due to heavy downpour, waterlogging has been reported in several low-lying areas of the city. There is a forecast of heavy rain in Mumbai and interiors of Maharashtra as well in the next 48 hours. The Indian Meteorological Department IMD has issued an alert for heavy rainfall in the national capital tomorrow and the day after. It said Delhi NCR is very likely to experience moderate rain with 1 or 2 spells of heavy rainfall of more than 65 millimeters during the period. IMD said at present the monsoon trough is running close to the foothills of the Himalayas and it will start shifting southwards from today. It will be close to Delhi NCR from this evening till Thursday.
The political upheaval continued even today amid the political crisis in Rajasthan. The state cabinet met this afternoon on the issue of convening an emergency session of the state assembly. About 2-hour-long meeting was held under the chairmanship of Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. After the meeting, Transport Minister Pratap Singh Khacharia told media persons that Cabinet has approved the reply on the 3-point consultation received from the Governor to convene a special session of the Legislative Assembly. Mr. Khacharia said that the government does not want a confrontation with the Governor and being a constitutional head, he should end this political deadlock.
Now let us take a look at today's weather forecast. The national capital Delhi may experience a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Minimum temperature was recorded 29 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 37 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The city had a minimum temperature of 24 degrees Celsius and will have a maximum of around 27 degrees. In Chennai, the temperature will hover between 28 and 35 degrees Celsius. The city will have a generally cloudy sky. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. The city recorded a minimum temperature of 28 degrees, while the maximum temperature will be nearly 36 degrees. In Jammu and Kashmir, minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while maximum will be 36 degrees. The city is likely to have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In Srinagar, the temperature will hover between 19 and 33 degrees. The city is expected to see mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Leh Ladakh will also have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Temperature will hover between 18 and 30 degrees. In Gilgit, the minimum temperature was recorded at 17 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 35 degrees. It is expected to have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Muzaffarabad may witness partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The place experienced minimum temperature of 23 degrees, while maximum temperature will be around 36 degrees. Chandigarh will see generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature was recorded at 27 degrees Celsius and maximum temperature will be around 35 degrees. Dehradun will have generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius, maximum expected at 33 degrees.
The government is promoting digitization drive to promote the tribal products on various online platforms. TriFed, under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, has purchased more than 1 lakh unsold items from tribals during the COVID-19 pandemic crisis to provide relief to the tribal artisans.
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Senior physician at GB Pant Hospital, Dr. Sanjay Pandey, will participate in the discussion. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 01123314444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan says preemptive and proactive measures helped in controlling the spread of the pandemic in the country. Total recoveries from COVID-19 in the country crossed 9.5 lakh mark. Recovery rate improves to 64.23%. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar says India is ready to provide every assistance to increase the population of tigers in the world, releases All India Tiger Estimation Report 2018. UN says levels of nitrogen dioxide fell by more than 70% in New Delhi during the lockdown. And in Bihar, incessant rain aggravates flood situation. Over 25 lakh people affected in 11 districts. With that, we end the midday news.